There's a moment right before everything falls apart when the person who hurt you still thinks they've won. Derek Calloway was living in that moment. Standing in a Chicago courthouse, surrounded by news cameras, he looked at his wife and said the cruelest thing a man can say: "You were never enough." Monica Reyes didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't beg. She just sat there, hands folded, while her husband told the world she was worthless. While he flaunted his new girlfriend. While he painted himself as the victim of a boring, broken marriage. Derek had it all figured out. The divorce. The story. The escape. There was just one problem. Monica had been recording everything. Every lie. Every hotel receipt. Every stolen dollar. And when her lawyer stood up and said, "Your Honor, we have evidence," Derek's perfect plan shattered in real time. This is the story of a man who forgot that quiet doesn't mean powerless. Let me show you what happened next. Before we continue, if you love stories about real people standing up for themselves, hit that subscribe button right now. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Now, let's get into this story. The courthouse hallway in downtown Chicago smelled like old wood and broken promises. Monica Reyes sat on a hard wooden bench outside courtroom 4B, her hands folded neatly in her lap. Her dark hair was pulled back into a simple bun. She wore a gray sweater and black pants. Nothing fancy, nothing that would draw attention. That's how she always dressed. Quiet. Invisible. Forgettable. But today, she wasn't going to be forgotten. Across the hallway, Derek Calloway stood with his lawyer, a tall man in an expensive suit. Derek looked good. He always looked good. His haircut was perfect. His blue suit was tailored. His smile was wide and confident. Next to him stood a woman in a red dress, Natasha Lang, his campaign manager. She laughed at something Derek said, her hand resting on his arm. Monica didn't look at them. She didn't need to. She had already seen enough. Derek noticed her sitting alone and walked over. His lawyer followed. Natasha stayed behind, watching with curious eyes. "Monica," Derek said, his voice loud enough for everyone in the hallway to hear. "You actually showed up. I'm surprised." Monica looked up at him. Her face was calm. No tears. No anger. Just quiet. "I said I would be here," she replied softly. Derek laughed. It wasn't a kind laugh. It was the kind of laugh that cut. "Yeah, well, you say a lot of things," he said. "Like how you'd always support me. How you'd always be there for me. But when I needed you most, where were you? At home. Doing nothing. While I was out there building a career, making a name for myself, you were just existing." People in the hallway turned to look. A few whispered. Monica felt their eyes on her, but she didn't move. Derek leaned closer. "You know what the problem is, Monica? You're boring. You always have been. I needed someone who could keep up with me. Someone who understood what it takes to win. And that's not you." Natasha stepped forward, her heels clicking on the floor. She smiled at Monica, but it wasn't a real smile. It was the kind of smile that said, "I already won." "Derek deserves better," Natasha said. "He deserves someone who supports his dreams. Someone who stands by him in public, not just at home." Monica's lawyer, a woman named Iris Cho, stood up from the bench. She was small, sharp, and didn't waste words. "Mr. Calloway," Iris said, her voice cutting through the noise. "If you're done performing for the cameras, we have a hearing to attend." Derek turned to Iris and smirked. "Oh, I almost forgot. You hired a lawyer. That's cute. Did you use the little savings account I let you keep?" Monica didn't answer. Derek pulled a folded stack of papers from his jacket pocket and tossed them onto the bench beside Monica. They landed with a soft thud. "Divorce papers," he said. "Already signed on my end. All you have to do is sign, and this whole thing is over. You get to walk away with whatever scraps you have left, and I get to move on with my life." He turned to the small crowd that had gathered. "You know what's funny? Monica here thinks she's entitled to half of everything I've built. My career. My reputation. My money. But the truth is, She didn't build anything. I did. She just sat at home while I did the real work. Someone in the crowd murmured. A few people pulled out their phones. Derek looked directly at Monica. Sign the papers, Monica. Don't embarrass yourself any more than you already have. Monica picked up the papers. She looked at them for a moment, then set them back down. No, she said quietly. Derek blinked. What? I said no. Derek's smile faded. You don't get to say no. This isn't a negotiation. Iris stepped forward. Actually, Mr. Calloway, it is. And you might want to save your speeches for someone who believes them. Derek's jaw tightened. What's that supposed to mean? Iris didn't answer. She just looked at her watch. We should head inside. The judge is waiting. Monica Reyes had been married to Derek Calloway for 10 years. 10 long years. When they first met, Derek was a law student with big dreams and no money. Monica was working 2 jobs, one at a coffee shop in the morning, one at a bookstore at night. She didn't mind. She believed in him. She believed in them. Derek used to tell her she was the reason he kept going. You're my rock, Mon, he'd say. I couldn't do this without you. And she believed him. Monica paid for Derek's law school tuition with money she saved. She worked extra shifts so he could focus on his studies. She made sure there was food on the table, even when there was barely enough for one person. She ironed his suits. She drove him to interviews. She stayed up late helping him prepare for the bar exam. When Derek passed and got his first job at a law firm, he was so happy he cried. He held Monica in their tiny apartment and promised her that things would get better. One day, we're going to have everything, he said. You and me. But as Derek's career grew, something changed. He started working late. He stopped coming home for dinner. He forgot their anniversary. He forgot her birthday. When Monica asked if everything was okay, he'd say, I'm building something, Monica. You wouldn't understand. And slowly, Monica became invisible. Derek didn't introduce her to his colleagues. He didn't invite her to work events. When people asked about his wife, he'd say, she's at home, as if that explained everything. Monica tried to hold on. She told herself it was just a phase. That once Derek reached his goals, things would go back to the way they were. But they never did. 2 years ago, Derek ran for city council. He won. And the moment he did, Natasha Lang walked into his life. Natasha was everything Monica wasn't. She was loud, confident, polished. She knew how to work a room. She knew how to make Derek look good in front of cameras. And Derek loved it. Monica saw the way Derek looked at Natasha. She saw the late-night texts, the secret phone calls, the receipts from hotels she'd never been to. But she didn't say anything. Not yet. Because Monica wasn't weak. She was patient. And patience, she had learned, was its own kind of power. Inside the courtroom, Derek sat at the front with his lawyer. Natasha sat in the gallery, watching. Monica sat across the aisle with Iris. The judge, a gray-haired woman named Judge Raina Finch, looked over the case file. This is a petition for divorce filed by Derek Calloway, Judge Finch said. Mr. Calloway, you're seeking a dissolution of marriage with limited spousal support. Is that correct? Derek's lawyer stood. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Calloway has been the primary financial provider throughout the marriage. Mrs. Reyes contributed very little to the household income and has no significant assets of her own. Monica felt the words like a slap. Derek turned to look at her. He smiled. Judge Finch frowned. Mrs. Reyes, do you have legal representation? Iris stood. Yes, Your Honor. Iris Cho, representing Monica Reyes. And what is your client's position? Iris didn't hesitate. My client opposes the petition. And we have evidence that will demonstrate Mr. Calloway's claims are not only false, but deliberately misleading. Derek's smile disappeared. His lawyer stood. Your Honor, this is a simple case. Mrs. Reyes has no grounds to oppose. She has no income, no assets, and no legal standing to claim otherwise. Iris remained calm. "We'll see about that." Judge Finch looked between them. "Ms. Cho, if you have evidence, now is the time to present it." Iris reached into her briefcase and pulled out a thick folder. She walked to the judge's bench and handed it over. "Your Honor, what you're holding is a complete financial history of the Calloway household over the past 10 years. It includes bank statements, tax returns, property records, and investment accounts." Derek's lawyer frowned. "What is this?" Iris turned to face Derek. "It's the truth." Judge Finch opened the folder. Her eyes moved across the pages. Slowly, her expression changed. "Mr. Calloway," she said, her voice sharp. "According to these records, your wife was the sole financial provider for the first 5 years of your marriage. Is that correct?" Derek's face went pale. Your Honor, that was a long time ago. I was in law school." "And according to these records," Judge Finch continued, "Mrs. Reyes used her personal savings to pay for your education, your bar exam fees, and your initial campaign for city council. Is that also correct?" Derek didn't answer. Judge Finch looked at Iris. "Continue." Iris walked back to the table and pulled out another folder. "Your Honor, we also have records showing that Mr. Calloway has been transferring money from joint accounts into private accounts under his name only. Over the past 2 years, he has moved over $200,000 without his wife's knowledge or consent." The courtroom went silent. Derek shot to his feet. "That's my money. I earned it." Judge Finch's eyes went cold. "Sit down, Mr. Calloway." Derek sat. Iris wasn't done. She pulled out a third folder. This one was smaller. She held it up. "And finally, Your Honor, we have evidence of an ongoing affair between Mr. Calloway and Ms. Natasha Lang, his campaign manager. This includes hotel receipts, text messages, and financial records showing that Mr. Calloway used campaign funds to pay for personal trips with Ms. Lang." The courtroom erupted. People whispered. Cameras flashed. Natasha's face turned red. She stood and walked toward the exit. Derek's lawyer looked at Derek. "Is this true?" Derek didn't answer. Judge Finch closed the folder. "Mr. Calloway, I'm going to ask you one question, and I expect an honest answer. Did you use campaign funds for personal expenses?" Derek's hands were shaking. "Your Honor, I can explain. Yes or no?" Derek looked at Monica. For the first time, he looked afraid. "Yes," he whispered. Judge Finch set the folder down on her bench. Her face was stone. The courtroom was so quiet you could hear people breathing. "Mr. Calloway," she said slowly, "you stood in this courtroom and painted your wife as someone who contributed nothing to your marriage. You called her boring. You said she didn't support you. You accused her of being a burden." Derek opened his mouth, but no words came out. Judge Finch continued. "But the evidence shows that your wife paid for your education. She supported you when you had nothing. She worked 2 jobs so you could follow your dreams. And the moment you achieved success, you not only abandoned her, you stole from her." Derek's lawyer tried to stand. "Your Honor, if we could have a moment to—" "Sit down," Judge Finch said, her voice like ice. The lawyer sat. Judge Finch turned to Iris. "Ms. Cho, does your client have anything she'd like to say?" Iris looked at Monica. Monica had been silent the entire time. Her hands were folded. Her face was calm. But her eyes were different now. They were sharp, clear, strong. Monica stood. She didn't walk to the front. She didn't raise her voice. She just spoke. "For 10 years, I loved a man who forgot how to love me back," she said. "I believed in him. I sacrificed for him. I gave him everything I had because I thought we were building a life together." Her voice didn't shake. It didn't break. But somewhere along the way, Derek stopped seeing me as a partner. He started seeing me as something in his way. Something to get rid of. Something to replace. Monica looked at Derek. He wouldn't meet her eyes. "I didn't come here today to get revenge," she said. "I came here because I deserve the truth." And so does everyone else. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small flash drive. She handed it to Iris. Iris walked to the judge's bench and gave it to Judge Finch. Your Honor, this drive contains audio recordings of Mr. Calloway and Ms. Lang discussing how to hide their affair. It also includes messages where Mr. Calloway instructed Ms. Lang to create false accusations against Mrs. Reyes to make her appear unstable in the eyes of the media. The courtroom gasped. Derek shot to his feet. That's illegal. You can't record someone without their permission. Iris turned to him. In Illinois, only one party needs to consent to a recording. And Mrs. Reyes was present during several of these conversations. She had every right to document them. Derek's face turned white. Judge Finch plugged the flash drive into her computer. She listened. Her face grew darker with every second. After 2 minutes, she stopped the recording. Mr. Calloway, she said, I've heard enough. Derek's lawyer stood. Your Honor, we request a recess to review. Request denied. Judge Finch's voice was final. Mr. Calloway, you lied under oath. You misrepresented your financial contributions to this marriage. You committed fraud by misusing campaign funds. And you attempted to publicly humiliate your wife to cover your own misconduct. She looked at Monica. Mrs. Reyes, I am granting you an immediate order of financial protection. All joint accounts will be frozen pending a full audit. Mr. Calloway will be required to return any funds he transferred without your consent. You are also entitled to 50% of all marital assets, including properties, investments, and retirement accounts. Derek's mouth dropped open. Your Honor, you can't. Judge Finch held up a hand. I'm not finished. Additionally, I am referring this case to the Illinois Board of Elections for investigation into campaign finance violations. If the allegations are substantiated, Mr. Calloway, you may face criminal charges. The courtroom erupted again. Reporters scrambled for their phones. Cameras flashed. Derek stood frozen. His face was red. His hands were shaking. Natasha was already gone. Outside the courtroom, the hallway was chaos. News cameras surrounded Derek the moment he stepped out. Reporters shouted questions. Mr. Calloway, is it true you used campaign funds to pay for hotel rooms? Did you lie about your wife in court? Are you withdrawing from the city council race? Derek tried to push through the crowd, but they closed in on him. His lawyer grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the exit, but it was too late. The story was already out. Monica walked out of the courtroom a few minutes later. She didn't run. She didn't hide. She walked calmly, her head held high. Iris walked beside her. A reporter spotted Monica and rushed over. Mrs. Reyes. Mrs. Reyes, how do you feel right now? Monica stopped. She looked at the camera. I feel like I can breathe again, she said. The reporter pushed the microphone closer. Do you have anything to say to your husband? Monica thought for a moment. Then she spoke. I hope one day Derek learns that people are not tools. They're not things you use and throw away when you're done. I gave him everything because I loved him. And he threw it away because he loved himself more. She paused. But I'm not angry anymore. I'm just free. And with that, she walked away. Monica didn't go home that night. She went to her sister's apartment on the north side of Chicago. Her sister, Carmen, opened the door and pulled her into a hug. I saw the news, Carmen said. Mon, you were amazing. Monica didn't say anything. She just held her sister and let herself feel it. The relief, the exhaustion, the weightlifting. Carmen made tea. They sat on the couch together, the TV playing news coverage of Derek's scandal in the background. He's done, Carmen said. His career is over. The board is already talking about removing him from the council. And the campaign. Finished. Monica sipped her tea. I didn't do it to ruin him. I know, Carmen said. But he ruined himself. Monica nodded. She looked out the window at the city lights. For the first time in years, she didn't feel small. She didn't feel invisible. She felt like herself again. The next morning, Monica's phone rang. It was Iris. "Good news," Iris said. The audit came back. Derek transferred over $300,000 into hidden accounts. The judge has ordered all of it returned to you. You're also getting the house. Monica closed her eyes. The house. The one you both bought together. The one you paid the down payment for while he was in law school. It's yours. Monica felt tears sting her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. "Thank you, Iris," she said. "You did this, Monica. Not me. You were patient. You were smart. And you didn't let him break you." Monica hung up the phone and sat in the quiet of Carmen's apartment. She thought about the last 10 years. The sacrifices. The silence. The nights she cried alone because Derek was too busy to notice. But she also thought about the woman she had become. The woman who waited. Who planned. Who refused to be erased. A week later, Monica moved back into the house. It felt different now. Lighter. Like it was hers for the first time. She walked through the rooms and started making plans. New paint. New furniture. A new life. Derek called once. She didn't answer. He sent a text, "Can we talk?" Monica deleted it. She didn't need to talk to him. She didn't need his apologies or his excuses. She didn't need anything from him anymore. Because the truth was, Derek had already given her everything she needed. He gave her proof that she was stronger than he ever thought. He gave her clarity. He gave her freedom. And that was enough. 3 months later, Monica sat in a coffee shop on a Saturday morning. She had a laptop open in front of her. She was working on something new, a small business she was starting. A bookstore. The kind she always dreamed of opening. A woman at the next table leaned over. "Excuse me, are you Monica Reyes?" Monica looked up. "Yes." The woman smiled. "I saw you on the news. What you did. It gave me the courage to leave my husband. I just wanted to say thank you." Monica didn't know what to say. She just nodded. The woman walked away, and Monica sat there for a moment, staring at her laptop screen. She thought about Derek. About the man he used to be. About the man he became. And then she let it go. Because the truth was simple. Loyalty isn't weakness. Silence isn't surrender. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is walk away and build something better. Monica closed her laptop, picked up her coffee, and stepped outside into the sunlight. She didn't look back. If this story touched you, hit that subscribe button right now. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done in Monica's situation? Would you have stayed silent, or would you have fought back? I want to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.